Now, as you probably know, if you've followed me for any length of time, I'm a Lamatologist and a Taoist. Now, when you're deciphering hidden symbols, it's more important to acknowledge the Mayan side of things, which means that you have to look for the Lamat Star. The Lamat Star is a Mayan hieroglyph. It's usually yellow or orange, and it's a four-directional symbol that has been used in variation since the very dawn of time. It's older than time itself. Every civilization and all kinds of people have used this at some point, but it always conveys the same thing. So what I do when I look for hidden symbols, I will always try to see if I can spot the Lamat Mayan hieroglyph. And what does it convey, aside from the four-directional philosophy? It conveys Venus, ripe, maize, seed, rabbit, and new beginnings. Now, all of those things might sound kind of random and weird when they're said like that, but if you begin to put the puzzle pieces together, you start to see something forming. You start to see it actually makes sense. And here is just the example of it. Wait till you see this. Now, this is a character from Pokemon. I don't watch Pokemon, I don't really watch any television, I don't play the games, and I have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever of the lore behind it. But what does that look like to you? On his forehead is the Lamat Star, conveying the four directions and conveying Captain Lamat, the main spirit of Lamatology. There it is, in exactly the same color. That's literally the Lamat Mayan star copied and pasted onto this character's forehead. It gets even better than that. Just a second. You really couldn't make this up, could you? What is he holding in his hands? What does it look like to you? What am I holding? A Zhuge Kong Ming fan. That's right. Even Kong Ming sometimes shows up in synchronicities. Now, Zhuge Liang, if you are not aware, was a legendary prime minister during the Three Kingdoms era of ancient China, and he was the prime minister of the Shu Han state, and he served Lord Liu Bei. Now, this is paying homage, paying tribute to Kong Ming. So you've got Zhuge Liang, Wo Long, meaning sleeping or crouching dragon, with the feathered fan here. And on the forehead, you've got the Lamat Star, tracing back to the Mayan origins. So here we have the Skull and Bones Society. Now, this is a very mysterious group. It's a bit like the Freemasons, but I would argue that the Skull and Bones Society is perhaps even more secretive than the Masons in a lot of ways. It was formed in 1832, and I want to jump straight in with this famous symbol right here, and let's pick it apart. You know me, I can get to this straight away. Let's take a look at this. So if you zoom right in, you gotta zoom in, you always have to zoom in with the symbols. What's that in the left eye? What does that look like to you? You tell me. That's a V. Do you see it? V, right there. Why would there be a V in the eye? That's just bones, right? That's just detail on the drawing. No, 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 no. Anything that's on this drawing, remember it's a drawing, it's not real. Anything on here was created to be put here on purpose. It's there with a purpose, with a reason, by an artist who created it. There's a very clear V. V for Venus, right? We all know this by now. V for Venus. Why? What's the significance with Venus? In Mayan mythology, Venus relates to death and life. Life and death disappears and reappears as the morning star. And the Mayans and the Aztecs as well, even the Olmecs to some degree, loved to worship and pray to Venus because it has a lot of authority over controlling one's fundamental life, deciding or not whether they die. So we have a lot of death energy going here, of course, with the skull and the bones, and we have the V for Venus in the left eye. Let's take an actual look at the bones themselves. So we have femur bones in a crisscross-like shape forming an X. What is an X? An X is a four-sided representation of the four-directional Lamat Mayan hieroglyph philosophy, which connects to the four chambers of the human heart, the four personality types, the four blood types of humans,
4 legs of most mammals, 4 wings of most insects, 4 corresponding earthly directions, 4 Western earthly elements, etc., etc., etc. The 4 holy gospels of Christianity, the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. Okay, we've got it all going on here. It's all represented in this symbol. If you can debunk it, go ahead and debunk it. I'm waiting for it.
Take a look behind there. You see it glowing? That's the green pearl. The green pearl is a gem within Lamat lore that was said to have cured a great epidemic within the French city of Calais. And of course, if you're familiar with the stories behind Lamatology, you know that Lamat and his crew went over the Forbidden Zone to use the pearl against Arpuch and his evil race of deviants to cure the epidemic, to cure the plague. So it also points towards the green pearl. So you've got green pearl Lamat. You can see that. That's very obvious. You can see it. Let's flip the symbol over, shall we? And I'll show you something else that I've seen. Let us zoom in. What letter is this? What do you think that looks like? It is no longer an L anymore. It is no longer the letter L. It has now become a V. You have to change your perspective when you're deciphering symbols. What does V stand for? Of course, we're talking about Mayan mythology because it's all connected. It's Lamat. It's Venus. Again, it all points towards Lamat. V for Venus, because that is the planet that is associated with higher awareness and new beginnings. Look up the Lamat Star and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Now I'm going to move away from the Skull and Bones Society, and I want to draw your attention to the Knights of Malta. Okay, oh, the Knights of Malta. Lord Josh, you're insane. There's nothing to see there. You're crazy. What are you talking about, Knights of Malta? You probably think I'm going to draw your attention to the obvious 4-directional Lamat Star symbol right here. Look how obvious that is. Do you see that? That's so obvious, isn't it? Oh no. I mean, yeah, that's there. That's definitely a synchronicity, and they definitely use it. But that's not what I'm just talking about here. Do you see it? I like my viewers to also make up their own minds and to be able to draw their own conclusions. Can you connect the dots here? Can you see this? The Knights of what? Are you sure it's Malta? Oh yes, Lord Josh, I'm absolutely sure about that. No, 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 it's definitely Malta. It's got to be Malta. Really? Really? Take my glasses off for this. Really? Are you sure? Malta is an anagram for Lamat. Look at it. It's an anagram for Lamat. I don't make this fit. You can't make anagrams fit. If they don't fit, they don't fit. If they don't work, they can't work. And it works. I sat here looking at this card right here, the Lamat Star, and I was meditating on this because Lamat was pulling me in the direction he was saying to me, you've got to look into the Skull and Bones Society, and most importantly, you've got to look into the Knights of Malta. And I was racking my brains, I was thinking about this obsessively, and I just could not come to a conclusion. What does Lamat want me to see here? What is he pointing me towards? I couldn't quite understand where he was guiding me. And one night, it clicked. It clicked. It felt like the universe was in the palm of my hand. You know, that feeling, that infinite feeling of bliss and power. You feel like everything's going your way. That night I realized. 4-directional symbol. The Lamat Star. There is no Knights of Malta. There is the Knights of Lamat. They carry his symbol and they cover it up. And they pretend it's not true. And they make people like me look a little bit insane, which I kind of am. But at the same time, Malta is an anagram of Lamat. You can't change it. Anagrams don't change. You can't make them up. It fits, it works, it corresponds, and there's the symbol to go along with it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Lord Josh, what else is there to decipher? You've covered so much. Believe me, I haven't even scratched the surface of what I can cover. Okay, so here we have Louis Vuitton. Now, a lot of people watching this are going to think, oh, Louis Vuitton, great luxury brand, right? You've got to get your Louis Vuitton bags. Oh, of course you do. I mean, you've got to spend $1,000 or £1,000 on a worthless, superfluous, superficial bag, right? You've got to do that because you want to keep up with the Joneses. You want to look like you're successful because the demographic of the people who buy these are usually not that wealthy at all, but they're all about appearances, keeping up appearances, looking like you are so successful in your life, but in actuality you're a 9-to-5 drone and you spend your money on worthless shit. Anyway, that's beside the point. So on here we have what appears to be some four-directional symbolism. Gee, I wonder what that could be. What on earth could that be? And you've also got the letters L and V. Now, what would that mean? Obviously, that means Louis Vuitton, right? That's definitely Louis Vuitton. Of course it is. What else could it be? You wouldn't have something else on there, would you? Oh, of course you would. Of course, life is never that simple, is it? The L stands for, go on, Lamat, that's right, you got it, well done. And the V stands for, that's right also, Venus. That's right, because I want to train people how to do this. I want them to do this. I want to be an old man sitting in a crazy nursing home somewhere and watching people deciphering hidden symbolism saying, oh yes, there we go, Lord Josh inspired a whole generation of cryptographers and decipherers. Lamat, Venus. And you've also got the four-directional star, the Lamat Mayan hieroglyph conveyed on here as well. And you've also got it repeated, a different variation of the same four-directional symbol.
Hang on a second, let me get it up. The very famous picture. And my viewers will know what I'm about to say here today. Of Winston Churchill, British Prime Minister and leader of the Allied forces at the time of the war. He is doing what has become known as the V for victory sign. This is the sign V for victory. That, you know, it's a positive sign. It's a sign that you do to show peace and love and victory and all that nonsense. It's actually nothing to do with that. It means Venus. V for Venus. It's all related to the Lamat Mayan hieroglyph system. So V for Venus, the four-directional symbol of the Nazis. V for Venus for the Allied forces. And you always see, this isn't just on one picture, you always see him doing this. So now I'm going into the medical field. The American Society of Radiologic Technologists. You might think, what the heck is that? Now, STAR is an anagram of ASRT. And this is like I said, a medical establishment. And I want to show you, what do they always use for medicine? What's the universal sign? If you go on holiday, like if you're in Spain and you look for a pharmacy, what's the sign that communicates to you? Because symbols have no language barrier. Remember that. Anybody can look at symbols no matter where they come from or what language they speak. They communicate so much more than words ever can. What's the symbol of medicine? The green cross, which is obviously an X as well, and it's a four-directional logo. It relates to Lamat. You've got the anagram of ASRT, American Society of Radiologic Technologists. So now I think I want to move away from the companies, and I want to go into something now that's going to shock a lot of people. It's going to be quite unusual, shall we say. Do you know who this person is here? I think you do. That's the Zodiac Killer. Now, what has the Zodiac Killer got to do with the Lamat Star? Indeed, nobody has ever drawn the comparison or the relation, have they? Why is that, I wonder? Let's have a look. Look at that. What do you think to that? Zodiac Killer? What is Lamat? He's a zodiac. He's a Mayan zodiac. That was the Zodiac Killer's, one of his main symbols that he used when he wrote letters. And look at it. It's mistakenly on here. It's wrongly called a crosshair. It's not a crosshair. Look, that's the Lamat Star. That is the Lamat Star right there. Zodiac Killer. The Lamat is a zodiac. And so you see, if you want to do something and you want it to work, if you're a planner or a strategist and you want to use esoteric symbols as a way of being successful, not just with money, but with any pursuit, the Zodiac Killer, as far as I'm concerned, got away with it. Why did he do that? Because he utilized occult ability.
He utilized the spiritual, the metaphysical. And Lamat is not evil. I don't want people thinking that. Lamat is a force of brilliance, but like I said, anything can be used and anything can be abused.
Let's take a look at this logo here for Admiral. Admiral Car Insurance. It's a company that specializes in insurance and loaning money and things like that. But let's take a look at this. This is frightening. This is absolutely disturbing that it's gotten to this point now where it's so obvious and nobody's even talking about it or raising it. That's going to change though with this video. Now first of all, look at this. Admiral. What is an admiral? Now an admiral is a commanding officer. It's someone who has authority over others, usually in a military style fashion. Now an admiral and a captain are very much connected, wouldn't you agree? Here we have what appears to be a sort of 17th century nautical sailor, a captain, an admiral, a commanding officer from that time frame. Look what he's doing. He's doing the incredibly famous Lamat sextant pose. The pose that Lamat does with his golden sextant on all of his pictures. He is replicating it in this image. Now this isn't something that you see very often, so when I seen this, I was stunned by it. I also want you to take into consideration the fingers here. Let me zoom in real quick. Do you see this? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the thumb is shaded out. It's shaded out completely. And look there, do you see that? That to me looks like a candle, and that is a flickering flame. Do you see it? There's the flame flickering, and there is the candle. I've never seen anything like it. What is this? What's that right there? That's a star. That's a star. And inside the star is one of two things. It could be a moon. It could be a half moon, as you can see there, or a quarter moon. Or it could be a C, standing for captain. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this on the screen, so I highly advise that you look this up yourself. That right there, this is the building itself in Mexico, and this is the outside of the academy. That is the Mayan hieroglyph perfectly recreated on here. It's literally like they've copied and pasted the original stone carvings and they've put it on this building. That isn't a four-directional symbol. That's not a typical symbol. That is the Lamat Star. That's the very symbol that I talk about on this channel. This might be the very first time that the actual original symbol has made an appearance in this series. And of course you have the words Lamat. But as I say, the coincidence theorists out there, they can't seem to piece the puzzle pieces together. They can't make them fit. They look at everything individually and they never see the bigger picture or the grand vision. Every single omen that I see, I glue it together. And if the puzzle pieces don't fit, they don't fit. It's like anagrams. You cannot make an anagram work if it doesn't work. It either works or it doesn't. It's as simple as that. You can rearrange the letters, but you can't remove the letters and you can't add any. You have to work with what you have. I always work with what I've got, and I produce factual research and factual results by doing what I do. Right, so we start off, first of all, this movie, it's about a cult, and more specifically a death cult. These two, this couple, a man and a woman, two people, they're going to this house which they've been invited to, and it's this beautiful mansion, elaborate place, very modern, contemporary. They're obviously quite rich, and I think it's in the Hollywood Hills, very, very affluent suburb. And they go there, and things seem really odd, really weird, but not the kind of weird that you like from me, the sinister type of weird that nobody wants, those bad vibes, you know, piss off, I don't want that kind of negative energy. So they're at this place, this sort of luxury mansion, and slowly it unfolds that they are victims of this death cult. And the plot of the whole movie for this particular family, this couple, I think it's a group of friends, is for them all to commit suicide collectively as a group because they want to transcend their suffering. Guess what symbol this cult uses? You guessed it all right. Let's take a look, shall we? And you think, oh, Lord Josh, he's just off his rocker, he's crazy. No, oh, really? Well, let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a damn good look. You're going to eat your words. So here we go. This is in the mansion. This is this wonderful living room area, I think, and they're sitting there and they're discussing things. It's a very creepy atmosphere. And I was watching this and I was thinking, just to give a bit of context, when I watch movies, I don't click on a movie expecting to see a Lamat Star. It doesn't work that way for me. I just found this movie on Netflix one night and I thought that looks quite interesting, I'll watch it. But I was compelled, there was something drawing me to it, like moths to a flame, and I couldn't understand what it was. When I saw this, not too far into the time of the film, I thought, oh, hello, Lamat. Good to see you again, my old friend. And here he is. Look at that. Hold on, I've got to zoom in here. How the hell do you zoom on this software? I don't know how to do... Hang on. Well, there we go. That's it. Look at that. That is the Lamat Star. Now, sometimes on these videos, you will often get variations of a four-directional symbol which may look like the Celtic cross or something similar, but in this case we are getting the Lamat Star that looks like it's been ripped out of an old Mayan hieroglyphic book. Okay, that is definitely the star. Look at it. That's it right there. There was even a Lamat Star crop circle discovered in Wiltshire, England in August the 15th, 2006. And it was discovered to be about 300 feet in diameter, a Lamat Star crop circle. Now, obviously there's some people out there that believe that these crop circles are man-made. I don't, but I also don't believe they were made by extraterrestrial life. The way that I see it, not to get too much into aliens on this video, I will do in the future, I don't usually cover that kind of thing, but now that I've found out about this crop circle, it's gotten me very interested. I believe that a lot of what people say are alien encounters are actually encounters with interdimensional beings. And so when you've got an encounter with a Lamat Star, you're dealing with something that operates on a different level of frequency. We're talking about the plasma planes here on Jupiter. This is a direct message sent from that realm to Earth for us to decipher, and I think it's wrong of us to think that it's aliens or extraterrestrial life, because really it isn't. It's Lamat. It is the force of Lamat. Lamat is an energy, he's a force, he's not an alien, he's not a god, he's not a deity or a spirit, he's a force. He is the universe itself. And that's really the best way to describe him. And it doesn't surprise me if in the future more of these crop circles are found. Now, why was it found in England? I tend to think because I'm probably the most enthusiastic lamatologist in England, probably in Europe, maybe in the whole world, who knows. But I certainly live it to the hilt, and I really believe that living life by the four and living in accordance with the way that Lamat wishes is truly the best way to live. A great example of someone using the Lamat Star for creative and productive purposes would be David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, Star Man. He is one of the perfect examples of someone who is actually using the energies of the star in its intended form to create, to be creative, to use your imagination, and to use your talent in order to create a damn good living for yourself. There are plenty of artists, occultists, sorcerers, mystics, writers out there who are tuning in and using the star as it should be used. But there are also lots of people abusing it. So I think if you want to use it, I recommend you use it in the right way. So there's this institute, this academy in Mexico called the Lamat Institute. And they use, that's right, this is their logo, and they use an anchor and a four-directional symbol. But what's that made of? What is that right there? Can you see it? What is that made of? That is 4 sextants. But hang on a second. Who else uses a sextant? It's Captain Lamat. He uses a gold sextant. But what are the colours of these on here? Hang on a second, they're gold. Isn't that strange? Well, you're probably thinking, well, it's just a sextant. Doesn't mean anything. What's in the centre of the sextant? What's that right there? You know what that is. That's the Lamat Star. Oh, that's quite strange, isn't it? Oh, but it's all a coincidence, right? It doesn't mean anything. Well, why is this anchor there then? Anchors obviously relate to nautical, maritime culture, ships, oceans, boats, sailors. Who else was a sailor? Who else captained a ship? Hang on a second, let's go back. Oh, it's Lamat. Oh, that's strange, isn't it? But of course it's a coincidence, right? Of course it is. Let's go back. What does that say? Lamat. So you start to see my point here. How many more hits do I need to get before you people out there wake up and go, holy shit, there's something weird going on? And there is. I don't just mean me, I mean something even weirder than that is going on. As you can see, all of these synchronicities just piling up. In Rise of the Planet of the Apes, what's this to you? What's that? What's that right there? That is the Lamat Star. But you're probably thinking, well, it's just a film, Lord Josh. You know, they just throw shit in. Nobody designs this, right? There's no such thing as a director, a writer, a set designer, a researcher. People just throw all sorts of random shit and hope that it sticks. Like a dart player, right? Dart players don't play darts in the light. They play them in the dark and hope that they'll hit the board. Bullshit. Movie makers know exactly what they're doing, and this is conveying a message.